500 in the conference, which they would if they don't.
I don't know necessarily. I still think if they lose these 2 regular season games, but then win 2 in the Big Ten tournament, I think that might get them in the play-in. Because of what you just said there, Stoney. I mean, people are going to tune into the play-in game to watch Michigan.
True.
So I think the magic number's 3 above 500. However, they get there. They got to get there.
Wouldn't it be ironic if they played in the play-in after last year and Michigan State didn't really make the tournament? They were in the play-in game, and then Michigan would be in the same spot.
Yeah,
They both lost to the same team, UCLA.
Right?
Well, my favorite thing, Michigan was in the play-in game a few years ago, and they won. And that was the year Michigan State lost to Middle Tennessee State, so Michigan did better in the tournament than Michigan State. That was one of my big trolling Michigan tapes, which was the truth, actually.
You know what's weird? One of those middle-of-the-road teams, and you're sitting there, well, should they be in? If you're, I don't know, pick a number. If you're like the 50th best team, but you're from a Power 5 conference, you might have a better chance of winning the basketball championship than the 8th team does in football. The way it's set up, the way Alabama, the SEC is.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, you could see a team like USC this year get hot.
Right.
This is that year. There are no great teams. There are a handful of good teams. You get yourself in, and because college basketball is a sloppy, turnover-prone product, somebody gets upset, somebody gets amnesia, forgets to tie their shoes, you move on. You go to the next game. That's what this year is.
Michigan's 2 national championship appearances in the last decade have been partly because of miracle buzzer beaters. I mean, it just shows you how fragile it is. And I don't know what you were saying, Jim, about the shooting. That takes me back to, okay, well, who are the best defensive teams? And the KenPom top 10 is, it's littered with Gonzaga, Kentucky, Baylor, Arizona, Duke. And then it stands out to me that all those teams have 5 losses or less for the most part. And sometimes just, you look at the win-loss column and it's like that's who you go with, because I do get trouble when you start to see teams with like 8-9 losses who are considered championship teams. I mean, they lose. They're used to. They're not. I mean, I know it's simple here, but just looking at like Arizona, for example, they're 25-3. I mean, they don't lose that much. I mean, they lost this weekend, but they don't lose much.
Like people look at the Big East. Well, Villanova, they won championships. They have 7 losses. They're not that good.
Nobody's that good.
Yeah, I heard Chico said he liked them on Friday. I don't know about that.
Hey, get in and see what happens. Michigan's got some work to do.
He is a really good coach tournament. No doubt about it.
Deadline day. Does anybody care? We'll get into it coming up next. It's 97.1.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook.
Hey, it's Ken Barkley filling in for Nick Costos. With the tournament just a few weeks away, let's take a look at the college basketball futures market and see if anything stands out. Of all the contending teams priced in the same area, 10-1 to 15-1, I would look at Kansas. They have a proven tournament coach who has won a title and been runner-up, a ton of balance on the offensive and defensive ends, and really no real weaknesses. They are set to get a helpful transfer back on their bench in the next few weeks, hopefully as well. A big game at rival Baylor looms on Saturday, but if Kansas wins that game, they'll be favored in all 3 down the stretch and could end up making a really strong case for the #1 overall seed.
That's it for this Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook. Check out the latest lines today at BetRivers.com. I'm Nick Costos. Keep it locked here for more throughout the day. Must be 21, playable in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
Now at T-Mobile, you can get the incredible iPhone 13 on us. Network with more 5G bars in more places.
This is the year, Amelia. The year I become a famous influencer.
Oh, yeah? Why's that?
I just got the new iPhone 13 at T-Mobile. It has the most advanced dual camera ever on an iPhone. So my videos and photos are gonna look amazing. And check it out. I have 5G, even out here. Oh. I'll be able to post tons of content. Plus, influencers gotta stay fresh,
Nice. So, were you gonna learn to sing or dance or something?
Better. Yodeling. Ooh, let's hike up the hill and do a live stream. Yodeling.
I'm good. Thanks.
Get into T-Mobile today, because when you switch, you can get the new iPhone 13 on us on every plan with eligible trade-in. All on T-Mobile's 5G network with more 5G bars in more places. Only 24 monthly bill credits with qualifying new line plus tax for well-qualified customers. Contact us before Details at T-Mobile.com.
So given a choice, I'd rather have a robot hustler than a jetpack. But what was my point? Oh yeah, a bunch of the games on the Caesars Sportsbook and Casino app have live dealers and live players. Download it and you can play with real people. And how do we not have jetpacks by now? Where's the future we were promised, people?
Must be 21. Offer valid in Michigan only for new players. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Stop by Church's for the hot-flying flavor combination of our Texas tenders and shrimp meal today. It's butterfly shrimp alongside made-from-scratch Texas tenders, served spicy or original for $6. Church's, welcome to the great state of flavor. Offer valid at participating locations. In a world where a single touch can threaten the surfaces of your home, there's Microban 24. Just one spray fights bacteria all day.
Bacteria incoming. Shields up, defenders.
When used as directed, Microban 24 sanitizing spray forms a defensive shield that keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch.
Threat eliminated.
Microban 24. Don't just sanitize it, microban it. Now spraying in a store near you.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of instant feedback brought to you by Mike and Hura National Benefit Plans. Call 877-734-2200.
Text the ticket using the same number you used to call the ticket. Ticket text 248-539-9797. Jim Costa in for John Jansen today. Stoney's back. That's the big story. In addition to deadline day. And Stoney, before I go on some long diatribe about screw the owners and their greed, does anybody care? Does anybody care that today is deadline day for Major League Baseball?
It's weird. They're meeting like 35 minutes from where I am. After the show, I'm going to drive up there and, barge in their meeting and say, listen, guys, get it together. No. I think most of America doesn't care, which says a lot about the state of baseball. But I have to be honest with you, and maybe it's because it's too close to us. I care, and I didn't think I would. And the reason I care is because we have a team with some really good, we believe, young players that I want to see play. And if this was the Tigers from 2 years ago, I wouldn't care at all. But I need Riley Green and Torkelson and the others. I need this for the summer. I mean, once the draft's over, there's been nothing going on here. We need baseball. I'm selfish. And I think the Tigers are going to be fun to watch. I like talking to A.J. Hinch every other week. I'm selfish. Get this crap together. I care.
248-539-9797.
You care, Jim.
I care too, Stoney, and it's okay to care. I think we live in an era where it's not cool to care about things. Oh, I'm too cool for this. I don't care about measly little baseball, baseball and their slow, boring game. I don't care. It's okay to care. And you're right. 2 years ago, do whatever you want. That's fine. It's not going to make a difference. But for the Tigers, who turned a bit of a corner last year, have a real manager, spent a little bit of money, have a couple guys who would be normally talking about this time of year, spring, the build-up, will they make the club? I do care that this whole thing has turned into a farce. And because I care, I find myself incredibly frustrated in the owners. I know it takes two to tango, it's a negotiation, but if you paid attention to this stuff, the owners are the ones that locked him out. The owners are the ones that went 40 days without negotiating, and we're looking at about 90 days, and they aren't budging. The players are making some concessions. If you think they need to make more, fine. But the owners aren't even trying, Stoney, and that's what's so frustrating. The revenues are up, and yet they don't want to share. It's embarrassing.
I agree with you, but I do think they're making little incremental steps, which to me is a big deal. Seriously, what has a better chance of being settled first, this or Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah.
I don't know. Flip a coin right now. It's amazing to me, the baseball thing, where it's not like it's football, okay, where people really care. All right, you have a sport that nationally is not doing very well. Local teams, when they playing well, do very good as far as TV ratings, like Bally Sports in Detroit, and of course people listen to us with Dan and Jim on 97.1 The Ticket, especially when the teams are interesting. Other than that, it's dying. I mean, I'm over-exaggerating because, yes, kids are still playing baseball, you know, but it's not like it was. It never will be. And you have a chance during this period of time. Football's done for a while. You got the combine this week. Take advantage before March Madness. You don't want to escape from the national landscape, and that's what they've done. They don't seem to care. More the owners than the players, but the players are pretty damn greedy themselves.
I think stubborn. And listen, it's a real cliche. Millionaires versus millionaires. Some of these players don't make $1 million. I do think the issue with baseball is this: revenue's up. Right? You go to a game, tickets are up. TV ratings, they're making more and more on these TV deals. You want to buy a beer, you want to buy a hot dog, prices go up. And the players are going, hey, I'd like to see a share of that. There is no salary cap in baseball. There's no salary floor. The owners don't have to field a competitive team. There is a luxury tax on the top, so there's a limit for some teams on how much they're willing to spend. So the players are going, how do we get money? If you're not going to raise the floor, if you're not going to raise the ceiling, how do we get our fair share? And the owners, big concession, Stoney, was $1 million on the high end for one season. That was their big concession, 48 hours before delaying the season, which Rob Manfred called a disaster. If you're going to lock the players out, refuse to negotiate, offer up $1 million in one season 2 days before, you don't care. You don't care if the season's delayed. This disaster talk is all posturing. You don't care.
And it's not even that they don't care about the game, which they should be the stewards of the game. They don't care about the little guy. All right? Yes, if the owners lock them out, and God forbid there's no season, most of the players, can survive. Obviously, the owners can survive. But the people that work at the ballparks, the people in the front office that, don't have big jobs, who will be laid off, a lot of them had to go through that during COVID. Those are the people that are being affected by this billionaire freaking greed. Now, I don't know how much, we know the NBA and the NFL, it's pretty much 50-50 to a certain extent, give or take a few percentage as far as TV revenues and all that. I don't know what it's like in baseball. I know baseball seems to make more of their money from digital and things like that because that's the other thing. I mean, you mentioned, the TV deals. Why are these TV networks paying such big money for crap that they're not getting ratings-wise?
Well, it's volume. It's 162 games over the course of a slow time. It's not because...
Well, I get the local, like Bally Sports,
sure.
And, for the radio deals at 97.1 The Ticket, but I don't understand, ESPN, Fox, and all that for their national. The World Series gets awful ratings if a couple of teams, even when they had the Dodgers were playing, it's a big market. The ratings were awful.
248-539-9797. I know it's February and you don't program your brain till April when it comes to baseball, but Gov brought up a great point. This would be the third straight opening day that we didn't get to have that proper celebration in Detroit. COVID, with no fans, and then this year delayed. I know it's not on people's radar because it's February, but today is the deadline that the owners have set, their own deadline. The players didn't set this deadline. If they don't agree today, opening day is getting moved. I care about that. I care about it because for all the reasons Stoney said, and because I think opening day is a big deal here, even when the team's not good. Let's go. Go ahead.
And as much as I enjoy to a certain extent the work of Evan Petzold and Chris McCoskey and Jason Beck and some of these guys, I'm sick of reading about minor leaguers that may never ever play in the majors again. I mean, that's what they do. They're down there, minor league camps going on. And when we're reading, it's like, okay, enough. Let's get some real guys down there,
Mike's hanging out in Waterford. Mike, are you disgusted? Do you care like Stoney and I do? Or is this a non-factor? You're on 97.1.
I do care, guys. I heard you say this on your show yesterday, Jim, also about, and I agree with you. It is the owners are being greedy. The one thing I would like to see the players come up on, though, is shortening the regular season and expanding the playoffs. I'm not sure why they're not all for that, other than not getting paid for 162 games. But baseball does have a lot to fix, you know. Baseball, out of all the sports, they have the hardest time changing with the times, you know, and people are, you know, you guys remember in 1994, the strike, it really hurt the fan base, and I'm not so sure that it wouldn't do the same now, so they really better be careful, because you know, in this day and age, I don't think it'll be as easy to grab the fans back. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And I definitely side with the players, but there's a few things that players could do that I'd like to see change the game. When you guys, especially the extended playoffs.
Well, I think you answered it a little bit. They're not going to cut the regular season down for monetary reasons.
There's a belief out there, and I heard Valenti talk about this a little bit last week, that there's this like ghost May 15th deadline where the owners believe they don't need to play until then to not lose any money, because they're sick of dealing with, and that lens leads to the shorter season, but the empty ballpark. From an operations standpoint, attendance is down that early in the year. You have the weather issues, all those things, and there's no way that players are ever going to cave on their pay for 162. So do you pay them for 144 or whatever the new number would be? I mean, there's some lessons being learned out of COVID with, you know, you don't need to have that long season, but the players aren't going to give it up. And they're the strongest union in sports. So I don't know.
The owners aren't going to pay for games that aren't being played.
I think you would start hearing about these things if negotiations got real ugly. I think they're trying to compromise. I feel like this is a fake deadline a little bit today.
Yep.
That all week long, if they get a deal done before the end of next Sunday, that they would still start on time. And with opening day and the third straight year not having it, I still feel though, the reason I don't think people care, because I think if opening day is April 15th instead of the first week of April like it's supposed to be in Detroit, everybody's still going to show up. So you're not showing that you're showing you don't care.
So the dirty little secret is opening day is always a party and a great time. Show up the next day. Show up the next day when it's 38 degrees out and the ballpark's half empty or at best. So I get the understanding of, hey, if they don't play till May, okay. But I don't like the lack of urgency. I don't like the fact that there's not a more serious effort to get a deal done and give people baseball, because what are you doing as a sport if you're not going to put your product out there for people?
And the first spring game is supposed to be this previous Saturday. We were going to have games on there.
We're going to air the games this weekend.
Yeah. And I do like tuning in and hearing that for even an inning. Yeah,
it makes you feel good.
So
but the weather's crappy.
I don't know. I just, in the end, I think the grand scheme of things, this is right now going to be no harm to baseball whatsoever. If they get into April and we still don't have baseball and still no agreement, I think you'll start seeing
starting route to 22496
and
West
if there's
McNichols
no
Road.
Baseball,
In 3/4 of a mile, turn left onto West 14 Mile Road.
Speaking of football, overtime. Gotta fix this. One NFL team put a proposal out there. Is it really this simple? It's coming up next. It's 97.1. 97.1.
At the next light, turn left.
From the WWJE AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer. There's a crash in Detroit, working to clear from the right side of 94 westbound just after Rashid Avenue. An incident is blocking the right shoulder, 696 westbound at 275. Also, delays continue through the new work zone on 275 northbound between Eureka Road and M1496. Come rain or shine, high winds or mild breezes, blue skies are great.
At the light, turn left onto West 14 Mile Road. Then turn right onto Inkster Road.
This is Eric Roughness with former NFL lineman TJ Lang and John Jansen. Download it today on the Odyssey app.
If you're dealing with old sports injuries,
at the stop sign, turn right onto Inkster Road.
That you possibly need a new hip or a new knee, pay attention, because I want to tell you about Strength Orthopedics in Southfield. Dr. Brandt and Dr. Fleischman are Michigan's top hip and knee robotic joint replacement specialists. Strength Orthopedics offers
in 1.4 miles, turn right onto Northwestern Highway.
They're not going to to jump to surgery right away. They want to take care of it with other means. They also offer robotic hip and knee replacement, which comes at no additional cost, and they accept most insurances and even offer unbeatable discounted cash pay plans so you can start living your life pain-free in no time. 4 to 6 weeks recovery time. You're back on the golf course. You're back playing tennis. If you're nervous about seeing a doctor each month, Straight Orthopedics offers Meet the Doctor events. The next lunch with Meet the Doctor, March 11 at 11 a.m. Caustic Activity Center in Farmington Hills. The doctors will be sharing information about Straight's cutting-edge treatment options for hip and knee pain. For more information, visit the events page at straight.org. That's STRAITH. Straight Orthopedics is committed to you.
This Omar Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Responding to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, rising Russian tennis contender Andrei Rublev defied his president by writing "No more, please" on the TV camera lens cover after winning a match in Dubai. Meantime, former Ukrainian star Sergei Stakhovsky declared Saturday that he's returning home to take up arms and defend his family and his country. Omar Esiason.
The CFOs that get it, get it. The CFOs that don't. Behold the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. This isn't some
At the next light,
Today's
turn right.
CFO is critical to the strategy, growth, and profitability of the business. But in growing companies, there are two kinds of CFOs. One who's struggling to keep up with spreadsheets everywhere, manual processes, errors, and lack of visibility into the number. It takes weeks to close the book. And one who's on top of their game. Automated reports, inventory, e-commerce, and HR flow into the financial model seamlessly. Insights coming with a click of a button. This CFO uses NetSuite by Oracle with visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, and budgeting. NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. That's why NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system used
At
by
the
over
light,
28,000
turn right onto
growing
Northwestern
businesses.
Highway.
Like I said, the CFOs that get it, get it. The CFOs that don't. Head to netsuite.com/play for a special one-of-a-kind financing offer. netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Get affordable internet that delivers the speed and reliability you need, and get more value when you add Xfinity Mobile. Now, qualifying customers can get Xfinity Internet free through the Affordable Connectivity Program. That's right. The Affordable Connectivity Program allows Xfinity to provide free high-speed internet to qualifying customers with speeds up to 100 megabits per second, so you can connect on all your devices.
Make a U-turn.
Now to get this incredible deal on high-speed internet for more streaming, more gaming, more chatting, and more of what you love. Ready for even more value? Ask how to save when you add Xfinity Mobile for as little as $15 for 1 gigabyte of data a month. To learn more, go to Xfinity.com/free, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today.
In 2.3 miles, take exit 18 beyond to US 24 South and Telegraph Road.
Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage per line.
Welcome to the Michigan Lottery Show. I'm Hank Giuseppe.
50 years ago, a jackpot started growing in Michigan. Inspired by fun and prizes for players. And this jackpot has helped local businesses.
Lottery ticket was sold at the family market.
And led to over $26 billion in support for Michigan public schools. Today, the jackpot is still growing, and the goodness it's spreading is a win for everyone.
In 2 miles, take exit 18 beyond to US 24 South and Telegraph Road.
This is always the best bet.
Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone, is the official fitness partner of 97.1 The Ticket.
Odyssey's Black History Month tribute to the incredible black artists who have contributed their music to the world. Hear music from Prince, Janet Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and many more. Search for Black Voices and Inspiration on the Odyssey app to listen.
The Detroit Pistons play the Washington Wizards. Pre-game tomorrow night at 6:35 on Phillies Radio 950 WWJ.
Hayes gets it in. Olynyk turns the buzzer. It's at the corner. Kelly Olynyk with the winning shot in the corner for the Pistons. Holy mackerel.
Our champion on the call, that shrieking was Stoney because they're winning too many games. Pistons at the buzzer last
I'm not there yet.
Now, Stoney, you usually go there first, but I actually brought this up to Jim before the show. I actually did look at the NBA standings.
They're still at the bottom. They still have the best odds for the #1 pick.
I haven't looked at the schedule looking Stony.
Stay in the left 3 lanes.
The Wizards next, and I don't know.
such a hypocrite because we called them out like 2 weeks ago before the All-Star break, saying, okay, it's one thing to be bad, it's another thing to compete. Then they start competing, then we start complaining about the draft.
Well, then I should have missed the shot.
Yeah, we got our competition, right?
Yeah, for real.
It's not, hey, look, I mean, everybody in Detroit is happy they finally beat
Use the right lane to take exit 18 onto US 24 South and Telegraph Road.
He said that Wayne Casey never beat the Hornets as coach of the Pistons. In fact, James Edwards of The Athletic, you guys know the starting lineup for the Pistons the last time they beat Charlotte.
And please give it to me.
Take the exit.
Andre Drummond, Tobias Harris, Stanley Johnson, Reggie Jackson, and the great memory of the years of long, illustrious Pistons career, Avery Bradley.
Rough. Awful. So, Stoney, I don't know where you were at on the overtime debate. It felt pretty obvious to me that we need to do something after that.
In 4.3 miles, turn left onto Grand River Avenue.
Keep it the way it is. I'm so excited that the Colts have put together the obvious, very easy proposal. Both teams get the ball in overtime. Guaranteed a possession, both sides in overtime. Can it be that simple? Can we just all agree and pass this and move on?
I think they will. I think they're going to get the majority. Well, especially for the playoffs. Regular season, they might keep it the way it is, just because
Wear and tear.
Shorten it. Yeah, wear and tear, which I'd have no problem with. Look, personally, play defense. You know, it doesn't affect. I don't go crazy about it. Is it more equitable the other way? Yes. The new way the Colts are putting out. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not losing. It's not a hill I'm going to die on. You know?
Oh, but you were play defense guy. You were, hey, yeah. Well, Stoney, my rebuttal is that both teams should have to play defense. Why does only one team have to play defense?
Well, that's true. I mean, like I said, if they change it, it's not that big of a deal to me. I think it probably is, in the grand scheme of things, fairer. But, you know, up until recently, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but up until recently, the coin toss winner really didn't have an advantage when it came to, you know, who ended up winning or losing the games. And I think the last couple of years that's changed a little bit.
I thought in the playoffs it was more dramatic.
Right.
It was like in the 11 playoff games, something like 10 of the 11, the coin toss winner won the game, which you just can't have a coin toss be that important for a football game. Under the Colts control.
When you're preparing for a game, you got to look at all the analytics and figure out what you're going to call it, heads or tails.
Heads or tails?
Good teams do that. You know?
And Tony, as we all know, it's tails never fails. No tails, right? Exactly.
That's a great point. But look, I still like this overtime better than college. But I hate it.
Well, especially what they did to college overtime.
Right, with the 2 point. I just think it's too easy to even score even a field goal.
Stay in the middle
Start
4
the ball
lanes.
at the 40, not at the 25. Because, look, obviously the kickers in college aren't as good as they are in the pros. But if you're starting the ball at the 25-yard line and you get, 3 and out, you're kicking a 42-yard field goal for what? You're basically being awarded a chance for 3 points without even having moving the ball. I think that's ridiculous.
I think the way the NFL's proposed, or the Colts have proposed it, is the easy solution. I can't imagine it's going to get a ton of blowback. I know the Chiefs got no support a few years back when they tried to advocate for the rule change. I hope this is a much easier decision now, having seen it happen a couple very obvious times in the postseason. You give one team the ball, they go down and score. The other team gets the ball, they got a chance to go down and score and answer. Now the question, I don't have the answer to this. What happens after both teams score a touchdown? Does it repeat? Is it next score wins? Does it have to be even possession for the entire overtime?
But that's what they're saying, is that right now that would be the only tweak. So you're going to get that same complaint. So if the Bills-Chiefs games continues to go the way it was, which was just, video game, let's score every 10 seconds, then the Chiefs still would have won. They just would have gotten, the Bills would have got a possession, and the Chiefs would have got the ball right back, and they would have scored, and it would have been, so that's going to be the complaint when that happens.
Well, there should be a complaint.
That's why I don't think there's necessarily a need for change. I'm not willing to die on that mountain, because I'll accept that they do this, each team gets a possession, but I also accept it the way it is now, because I think you got to play defense. The Bengals stopped Patrick Mahomes. That's why they went to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. The world isn't perfect, okay? Sports aren't perfect, and sometimes it's not fair, okay?
We can
I'll
make
accept
a more
this.
fair rule. It's not like we can't do better.
Well, I just would, rather than doing this and then changing it in 3 years again because somebody got screwed because they got unequal possessions, even though they both got a possession, then I'm a proponent for just playing 15 minutes.
I'd be fine with 15 minutes. My preferred system is equal possession. Both teams got to play defense. Both teams got to get a stop. If one team scores 2 touchdowns, the other team should have their chance to tie it up.
I'm a big
And in
believer.
the playoffs, if it's 15, it's still tied after 15 minutes, you just keep playing, right?
Right, exactly. There's the reason against that. There's too much football. We're gonna have injuries and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, whatever.
Playoffs, that's okay.
I actually would like to see some other things explored. Like number one, continued possession from
Go
regulation.
past this light. Then at the
I
next
think
one,
that would
turn
be
left.
fascinating. Like actually continued possession from regulation, and each team still gets a possession. Like to me, something like that, there would be a lot of strategy.
At the light, turn left
put
onto
into
Grand
doing
River
something like that.
Avenue.
Or I've also thought this too: whoever wins the coin toss to start the game loses the coin toss or wins it for overtime. So you know at the beginning of the game who's getting possession.
You can make a decision in the fourth quarter knowing what's going to happen.
Exactly. I think that would be fascinating. Strategic.
All of these are better than we currently have. Let's go to Dave in Algonac. Dave, you're on
In
97.1.
3/4 of a mile, make a U-turn.
Hey guys, I thought of an overtime idea for the NFL, something a little bit different. Coin toss remains the same, but each team is guaranteed a possession, and the wrinkle in it is the second
Turn
team
left.
that gets the ball must go for a winning
At the light,
score.
turn right
So
onto
if
Grand River
the first
Avenue.
team gets the ball, takes the field goal, the second team's got to score a touchdown. If the first team scores a touchdown, it takes the PAT, the second team has to score a touchdown, and they must go for 2 for the win.
I'm cool.
As a little more emphasis to have a little more thought on the coin flip, you might want to take the ball second.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right onto Northrop Street.
Keep taking the ball.
Got that. I hope that.
You're taking the ball in every circumstance, right? Unless you have
It's
the only
windy, Stoney. What if it's windy? Maybe.
Well, the only way you do it is if it's unbelievable wind and you have the 85 Bear defense or the Ravens defense.
Why?
That's the only way you do it.
Why? I'm getting a possession anyway. Well, under the new rule, fine. Under the new rule, fine. If you wanted second, fine.
Yeah, but that gives you. I still rather take the ball because that if another team gets the ball and they do score, you have to,
Yeah, but at least you know you're going to
get a 2-point conversion or get a touchdown if they get a field goal.
But you know
I'd
you
rather
need a
be in
touchdown.
control.
Okay, but you know you need a touchdown. You know you need to go for it on fourth down. You know you have the knowledge now to run your offense with the extra downs. As opposed to if you go for it first, it's fourth down, you kind of have to kick the field goal,
Just
right?
like college overtime.
You want to go second, right? In college overtime? Yeah. Tony, you want the ball first in college overtime?
No, not. But they go back and forth. It's different.
I think I want a system where they go back and forth in the NFL, and that's I think what Greg was bringing up.
Yeah, I know. I get that. I just to me, if you
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Bramall Street.
If you have a really good offense, I think you want to score right away.
You set the tone.
Yeah.
Speaking of a lot of offense, Tony, if you were at LCA this weekend, wow, a random game that turned into an eventful game. Talk about it next. It's 97.1.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit.
Turn left onto Bramall Street. Then turn left onto West McNichols Road.
Sports headlines all day, every day. From the Sold by Mike Z Sports Desk. This is 97.1. The Ticket.
Brought to you by National Benefit Plans. A fadeaway by Kelly Olynyk at the buzzer, giving the Pistons an overtime win in Charlotte, beating the Hornets for the first time in years. 127-126. 20 off the bench from Kelly. Sadiq Bey helping keep the game close late with 28 points. 26 for Grant. Cunningham with 19. Detroit's road trip will continue on Tuesday night. A near comeback at home for Michigan, but after cutting a 15-point deficit to
Well,
just
we were
2,
going to do that
the
one
Illini
Thursday,
buried it
but
late.
we just ran out of
Houston
time.
defensive assignment on Frazier.
Then the destination is on your right.
Dribbles around with 4 on the shot clock. Right wing got away with a push with 2 on the timer. Step back 3 is good. Yeah. And Illinois is up 7.
Brian Bush's call over on AM 950 WWJ. Michigan loses 93-85. Kofi Coburn dashing the